start.
Well, yeah, I think that's right. I mean, the thing is, yeah, a lot of candidates come, people run for office coming to CPAC. You know what else happens? I don't know how many of you have kids or grandkids, but I have so many people come up to me, a lot of donors who'll say, oh, my kids are all screwed up and they're not dating anyone and no one's married, I don't have any grandkids, I don't know what's going on. And at CPAC, things happen. Let me just tell you, these young people from these woke universities meet each other, and next thing you know, they're like, you're not a wacko, I'd like to date you. So we have a lot of wedding proposals and everything happening at CPAC. We're not really a religious institution, but you know, it's kind of working. So that's great. But
they're coming up with a new CPAC grinder.
I know, I was thinking we should definitely do that.
But you just
like
keep swiping right. That's the weird thing, because everyone's...
Okay, how do you know so much about Grindr? I mean, that's what I want to know. Come on.
I had to do some research.
Okay, got it. But you bring up a great point, which is that there is a lot of young people that go, but it's a very much of a family affair. And I think when you look at the fact that it is an opportunity for people to come together and know that we are the majority. Yeah. Okay, let's remember, there is a minority trying to control the majority.
That's right.
And that minority is louder than we are, and we have to stand stronger, and we have to be louder than they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had an incident with not an incident, it was a conversation with one of my dear friends who's actually a Democrat. And she told me, she goes, you know, I'm taking my daughter out she's going to another school, it's actually a more liberal school, and she was saying how they use all the pronouns, and she's like, but you know, this is the world we live in. And so we just have to accept this world. And I said, no. We are not of this world, okay? Because God has made us so that we can stand strong in the faith, and that we are able to say we have an opinion, and we are in America, we are allowed to express our opinions, and we are allowed to disagree. And the tactics of the left are clearly to silence us. That is their only goal. And we have to stand strong to say no more. And that is what's been, I think, the most inspirational thing that we've seen in Virginia, which is these parents, these mama bears, these papa bears, with their hands shaken up there, telling their stories about how they're not going to allow these liberals and these radicals to indoctrinate the kids.
Yeah.
It is our responsibility. We are in charge, and we are the ones that have to make sure that we get a hold of our kids and our grandkids and our nieces and our nephews. And that's how we're going to save America.
So for all those people who didn't raise their hand because they haven't been to a CPAC yet, tell us what they should hope to expect from CPAC Texas. Obviously, great names on stage, great inspirational speeches on the main stage, but you've got a lot of other stuff going on too in terms of organization and tools. And
yeah, I mean, a big thing is we always say you shouldn't just be talking to people. You should be getting them involved. So we have, the great thing about the way the Dallas CPAC is set up, which is going to be in the Anatole, is that the main speaker room, the hall, is going to be right next to where all the booths and all the activists are. So they're like right next to each other. And it's just a free flowing back and forth. So if there's an issue you care about or a cause that you care about, you can get totally wired in with the leadership of what's going on. And I want to say one other thing. Everybody's watching. So the Virginia story, which so many of you played a role in, you're famous. We were in Hungary. We had CPAC Hungary. We're going to do CPAC Mexico. We're going to do CPAC Israel.
We just finished CPAC Brazil.
We just did CPAC Brazil.
Yeah.
And what people say is, tell us about this Virginia story. Like, they want to know the story. So the whole world understood that what my wife just said is right, which is what we tend to do, because we were raised to be polite and accommodating, is we tend to say, they say, all we want is this. And so if you're a Republican, the first thing you think of is, we got to try to find a way to give that to them, because it's polite and it's really not that big a deal. It's a little thing. Just want this little thing. Let me tell you something. They never want that little thing. They want the whole enchilada.
Yeah.
They act like they want this little thing, but they want everything. And we learned this with the gender craziness, right? We thought it was about tolerance and people making adult decisions, and it turned into 5-year-olds being told that they can change their gender and reading these obnoxious books. So, just understand, that's what we should wake up from, is that when someone is a socialist and they say, I want a little thing, that they don't want that little thing. They're lying to you. They want something bigger. So what's the big thing that's going on in the country? They want to destroy any church, and they want to destroy the whole country because they don't like the country.
They want to destroy the individual. They
Yeah.
want to make sure that there is the future of no genders. They've made that very clear. And so the science is not science anymore for them. And so that is part of the reason why it's important to push back on just the most basic concept.
Where's this
of
woman
science.
thing come from? First of all, we have a Supreme Court justice that tells us
I'm the only woman
there's
standing
not a
right.
woman.
Yeah.
She can't define what a woman is.
Yes.
And then there's this rumor about Roe v. Wade, and then it turns into this is an attack on women. And my response
not
is, well,
birthing.
I thought birthing parents were having
Yeah.
children.
What about
not
the
women.
men
What
that
happened?
want an abortion?
Well, the men that are pregnant, that could get very controversial too.
Oh, oh.
Well, I mean, there's an emoji with the man
plays
pregnant.
this. Leave him alone. All right,
You actually did have all the children, it's true. And
Is it true that during the Reagan dinner this year, we're going to have Dan Bongino, Tom Fitton, and Pete Hegseth take off their shirts and do a flex contest? Is that because I heard about that?
Well, Larry, you're obviously the MC of the Reagan dinner, and you're not going to be part of the flex contest.
No, I didn't include my name in that.
No,
I'm just trying
that
to
is
sell
not true.
some.
No, but look, I think what it's important to understand is
Could you at least take that into consideration?
No.
You just dismissed it out of hand.
you're about to be fired.
You
in
want to
like
give
2
the
minutes.
people what they want.
No, listen. Here's the deal.
That's
What-
after the dinner, Larry. That's a whole
I
other
knew it.
No, but what is important to understand is, yes, our goal is to save this country, but this is an international phenomenon. When we travel across the globe, and Matt can tell you more specifically on CPAC Hungary because he was there. I was with the girls because they had finals, so I couldn't leave. But when I went to
she's not bitter or
CPAC
anything about
Brazil,
that,
no, not at all.
Yeah.
But when we went to CPAC Brazil, what you meet all these wonderful conservatives across the country, and they're facing similar challenges. They're facing where their freedoms are not protected. They have curriculums with extreme pornographic type of curriculums that you'd just be shocked that they're teaching oral sex at the age of 7. Then at one point when they were talking in Portuguese and they were all like blah 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 blah, you couldn't understand anything, and then all of a sudden they go fake news, and everyone would just jump up, and you start to make the connections that the world is watching the United States.
CPAC is back and is returning to the Lone Star State, Texas, August 4th through the 7th. Get tickets to see your favorite conservative leaders take the stage in Dallas. The movement that made America will be the one to save America. CPAC, Texas 22. Get your tickets today.
Almost life-changing for you to be with them, to know they are losing their freedoms day by day with these communists, these Chinese communists. And they keep saying, if we are looking to America, they're our only beacon of hope.
You know, in the Brazil one, this was prior to the election in Virginia, and the president's son was talking about these textbooks. He was like, these international organizations come into a country, and they tell you these are the textbooks you can use. They probably put some grants involved in it. And so the next thing you know, it's in all your curriculum, and to be like certified internationally, you have to use these textbooks. And he's like, we didn't even realize what was in these textbooks until we started, looking at them. It's the same experience we had here. And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, my God, I hope that's not happening in America. Well, it was. And it's the same groups, right, pushing it everywhere. And Mercy's right. The question of Hong Kong is this. Remember, they had, what was it, Mike, 50 some odd years when they turned Hong Kong over. And so it was a pretty long time, half a century. Well, then something happened, right? Which is the communists, when they got full control over everything, they didn't want to keep the bargain. So you had all these kids in Hong Kong that were saying, well, wait a minute, they could arrest us and take away everything we have at any time.
Yeah.
And this Jimmy Lai, this very famous billionaire, was, he's in jail, in prison. Most of the people I protested with are, we can't find them, or they're hiding out, or they're in jail. And so, like, the Hong Kong lesson for all of us is that, first of all, communists never keep their word. Second of all, this is how fast it can go.
Yeah.
How fast could we lose it all? I was just texting back and forth in your beautiful home with a really prominent conservative who's kind of dropped out of politics, and she was telling me that she just feels like it's over if we don't have a really big election. Mm-hmm. So I would say, to go back to answer your first question, CPAC's going to be all about the start of the big red wave. We're going to meet all the candidates. We are going to have all the important states there. So if you care about getting plugged into all that, I know we have 2 really important races here in Virginia. That's going to be the biggest part of it.
Well, I want to tag onto that a little bit because in Texas, you're going to be, first weekend in August, right?
Yep.
First weekend in August in Dallas. And you're pretty much going to have all of the primaries done. I think, actually, ironically, Liz Cheney, I think, still has her primary about a week later. But beyond that, most of our nominees will be set. Midterms are an exciting time for a CPAC. It always is. The presidential years, it's always about the nominee for the presidential election. It becomes just like, it's very
Well, if
high.
anyone who wants to run for president, they go to CPAC.
Everyone goes to CPAC.
That's just the way it goes.
But during the midterms, when it's not a presidential election, it is the best because you can access all of these candidates, you can interact with them, and they need CPAC. They need that crowd. So tell us a little bit about what that's going to be like in terms of everyone here wanting to be engaged all across the country and certainly right here at home.
Well, let me just say quickly, this Hispanic candidate that won in Texas, it's something like a plus 28 Democrat seat. So what that tells me is that there's going to be a lot of wins that you don't even anticipate right now.
I'm sorry, Matt, I hate to fact check you right in the middle of this.
31 points?
I read in the New York Times that Texas is turning blue and Beto O'Rourke is the candidate of the future and they're going to flip that state. So that can't be true. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the New York Times is wrong again. But the fact is this, what I would encourage you to do with your money is to not just throw money at all the races everyone's saying are the most important races, because there's going to be like 25 other House races underneath that are going to be in play, and they would have raised next to no money because they'll get no attention. It's just that focus shouldn't be at the top. You should put it more towards the middle.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing that with our agenda, try to get some more of these candidates on people's radar so that they can raise a couple 100,000 more. And
your
win.
ratings at the American Conservative Union are huge. I have a ton of candidates always, can you get me in front of Matt and Mercedes?
They say that to you?
Oh yeah, because they want that.
All they do is have to buy me lunch. It's so simple. Give me some wine.
Buy you lunch where?
Yeah.
But it is. It's incredibly important, incredibly influential, and that's why it's so exciting to go to the event every year. That's why. I mean, I participate, but I also cover it for the radio station. We broadcast live there, and we're not alone. I mean, if people do want to go for a little bit of stargazing, talk about that exciting media row. I still kind of laugh when I walk up and down and say, "Hey, there's that guy. There's that guy."
Yeah, they have. We have radio hosts and TV hosts from literally from across the country. Regional press, national press goes. Fox Nation is one of our biggest sponsors. But you were talking about the candidates, and I know we have Karina Lipsman here, who is running against.
Tell me about our event.
Yes,
Let's retire Don Byer, please.
Yes, please. We're hosting an event at our house. I was going to say
November
30th. Lord Jesus, June 30th.
Well, we'll have the
for
celebration
Karina,
party
The
in November.
celebration.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I love about Karina and spending time with her is that, she's putting herself out there. She's made a decision to run in a really difficult race, and she is so unafraid and so optimistic and so hopeful. And I think the key is, we have several others. Well, Nicole left.
Nicolene.
Nicolene Ambrose is
Nicolene
running
left.
in the 2nd District in Maryland,
And then-
north of Baltimore, and she is fantastic.
And then we have Jim Miles.
Jim,
right?
where's Jim?
Jim.
Excellent,
There you go,
Jim.
Jim. So Jim, you're running District 11? Okay, great.
I apologize, I was just at the Fairfax County, the protest over at, before the school.
Oh, I love the
Excellent.
protest.
That's right, there's a school board meeting tonight.
I would
You
have gone to this
apologize for that.
protest.
Don't apologize.
I'm not, it was great.
And then we've got two great chairmen here, Steve Knotts and Scott Pio. Which are good.
Scott Pio Loudon, Steve Knotts, Fairfax.
Pio.
And I've actually been to 8 CPACs. I was going to CPAC before I was
Pio.
chairman.
That's awesome.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
back when it
You must have
was
been
really
a baby
good.
back
It was
then.
really good.
boring.
But but it just shows you, and I know Patty's here as well, and Patty's done a lot of work and is working with Miaras, and it's just, so what I love is you get to meet all these people who are the real grassroots activists who are determined to make change. And I remember I met with one lady who's a single mom, and she's gone to CPAC for the first time, and she said she learned so much at CPAC that she went back to her school board in Texas, ran in a difficult seat, and actually won. And this is the moment. This is the year where there is going to be great victory for the Republican Party.